Hey everybody, got another video here for you. It's just about time to do the sound demo here for this thing. I've got it all tuned up and stuff like that. But I have found a couple issues. Basically, well, let's see. Basically, the issue apparently has everything to do with the bridge. Number 2 and number 3 string are not quite intonating. They are just a couple cents sharp at the 12th. And the number 1, 2, and 3 saddles are slammed all the way back. And I put a ruler on it, and the theoretical scale length is when the saddle is all the way back for number 1, and that usually doesn't work. The other issue is that the posts are all the way down and the action is on the high side. It's probably at least 2 mil action. So, yeah. So, now obviously this is like a half mil higher than ideal. The nut's nice and low, so that's not an issue. What it is basically is that this post here is should be like a couple mil in this direction. And both of these posts, either this should get a little bit of shim, like a half mil of shim at the neck, or these posts should be countersunk like about 2 mil into the body, and then relief carve is necessary under the bridge, if necessary, for clearance. And then as far as the intonation goes, this can be fixed. They make 2 types of knife edge bridges here, and I don't know if the camera will actually catch the detail. This is the type that has the wire that runs across all 6 screws in order to hold the screws in. And I tried to pop out the wire. The way you fix it is if you look, actually, hold on a sec here. This thing might already be flipped around. What you do is you can flip around this. No, it hasn't been flipped around. Okay, yeah, see, if you look here, the intonation point is at the back edge of this knife edge, but the intonation point on these guys is at the front edge. Now, if you take this number 2 and number 3, which are a few cents sharp, and you take out this retainer wire, take out the screws, take out the knife edges, flip them around backwards, put it all back together again, then that will move them about a mil, and that'll move the intonation point to the back edge of the knife edge, and that probably would be enough to fix it. Now, another thing you can do is you can get a replacement bridge, the kind that has the Allen screws on both ends here, and then actually has a slot so that you can adjust the thing forward and backwards a couple mil, and that would fix it as well. Or you could get the other type of bridge that doesn't have the wire, and it's much easier to flip these around. Or you could go with a roller, which might have greater adjustment, and once again with the roller you can flip them around. And they're actually pretty easy to flip around. They don't have the wires and screws. They tend to use Allens at the bottom. So that's that. Then as far as the height goes, if you had glued this in, you'd pretty much be looking at countersinking this a little bit in order to slam it down. so that when the posts were screwed all the way down and you laid a straight edge on the frets, it would just rest on the knife edges. And here, as you can see, if this, right here, yeah, I got my finger on the number 1, and it's resting on the knife edge, and you can see the posts are all the way down. That string should be touching that fret. And then you should raise the post a little bit in order to get your action. That string is not touching that fret. That's basically how much too high the posts are in relation to the neck. So, now me, and I'm lucky because I converted this to a screw in, so I just pop these screws out and slap about maybe a third of a mil of shim in there or something like that, and put it back together, and I'm done. And I don't have to countersink or anything like that. As far as the intonation goes, I tried to pop this wire off, but it wasn't really behaving itself. It's only off by a couple cents, so I think I'll fix it at some point, but for the moment I'm not going to worry about fixing it before I do like a sound check on this thing for you. Just from playing with it with a little test amp for tuning, it sounds like it's well, it's definitely got some nice sound to it. The bridge is pretty growly, and the neck is very impressive. It seems to be kind of strong in the upper mids, but that just might be that amp. So I'm going to put it. Next step is to put it onto a bigger amp and cab and see what it sounds like. And then once I've got some good sound, I'm gonna do a couple takes and try to get some good sound samples and tack them onto this video here. So, but yeah, if you're getting one of these kits, be forewarned that you might want to double check that stuff before you glue your neck in, because a little shim before you glue might save you having to do some countersinking later on down the road. So, and also double check your bridge. You might have to do something about that in order to get things intonated correctly. So yeah, I was really impressed about the fit and finish on everything, and fit and finish is all fine and good, but if the thing doesn't frickin' work right, and granted this almost works right, so it's okay. It can be made perfect, but it's not perfect yet. Okay, so here are the rules of thumb that I use, at least, that will prevent this kind of thing. Let's see, projectguitar.com, the general consensus there was that when you're setting up your bridge distance here, what you wanted to do was you wanted to set all your saddles forward all the way, then come out to your theoretical scale length, which is right here when the saddle's all the way backward, all the way at the back, that direction. And that's where you want to start. And then that usually puts your number 1 string spot on with the saddle all the way forward, and then you just move everything else back. Now, I personally find that kind of works, but also a little bit of angle also works. Here, generally, if they had like, if the whole bridge was like a mil or two that direction, everything would work. So, I suppose you could always move the neck a mil or two that direction in order to fix it as well. But, yeah, the general rule of thumb that I got off of projectguitar.com was go for theoretical scale length on the number 1 string with the saddle all the way towards the headstock. And that's where you start with your bridge placement. Then for the bridge height, I got this tip from Highline Guitars. It's a YouTube channel, and a guitar builder professional. And he uses a straight edge on the frets and has it just lay on the saddles when it's all the way down, and then he raises the saddles in order to set the action. And I found that method works quite well. And as far as the setting the bridge distance, yeah, the setting the saddle all the way forward and then setting the number 1 at the theoretical scale length. I haven't really had issues with that yet. Sometimes it can be pretty close trying to get this number 6 string saddle far enough back. That's because some guitars seem to be like that. Sounds like it's open season on deer. But anyway, yeah, that's the best methods I know in order to measure this stuff out and get everything correct. Use the straight edge for the saddle height, and use the theoretical scale length with the saddles all the way towards the nut. I'm going to get the amp set up, and I'll be back. Okay, got a bigger amp hooked up here. It's running into a Coulter 45 micro block, which is basically a pedal amp, 45 watt chip amp. It's got gain, tone, and master, and the tone set at middle position, halfway up, and the gain and master a little over halfway up. And then it's running out into this cab over here, which has a 10-inch Celestion in it. And I just checked the tuning, and it's on the bridge pickup. Volumes are all the way up, and tones all the way up. These are Ernie Ball 8s, 8 to 38. Neck. Now let me do it this way. Sounds a little off. Also, I think my battery might be going dead. I hear some breakup. Yeah, my battery's going dead. Let me switch over to the generator. I'll be back. Come on, thing, turn off. Okay, try this again here. Neck pickup. Now, as I mentioned, the action's high, so I didn't really move the pickups, but just checking the adjusted height The neck pickup looks good. The bridge might be able to go a couple mil higher, but as far as the balance goes, you see there's two schools of thought on that. One is that you set it so that treble and bass and neck and bridge are all as equal volume as you can get it. And then the other school of thought is you crank it up as much as you can. So, yeah. Definitely fatter. About the same volume though on the middle strings. I doubt that magnetic buzz would be much of an issue with these. They're probably not very strong magnets. Okay. Oh, both pickups. Definitely fat sounding. Fat yet clean. Back on the bridge again. It's bright, but it gets very creamy and warm very quickly. There's just a hint of that heavy bass on the bridge pickup. And then the neck is just wow. That Gibson string flopping around. Okay, let me set this thing down somewhere and play a few chords or something for you. Well, I've hit another operational issue. The nut is a whole lot higher than I thought it was. Watch, you'll see the string move. Look at that. That is a mile high. So, yeah. It's so high I'm not even going to try to play it. That's how bad it is. Yeah, between the nut is super high. The bridge is a little high. No, the bridge is high. About 2 mil too high. So I'm gonna I'll start by shimming the neck, and that'll correct this end, bring this end up. But that'll also probably have the effect of bringing this end down, which should bring this string a little closer. I'll probably end up having to file this nut though to get the action down so that the bottom of the nut slot is coplanar with the fret plane. So, yeah. Too bad, man. Well, it is pretty wood, and it's trivial stuff, and after all, it is a kit. It's really on the builder to do these kind of things, right? I don't know about that bridge placement, though, and the neck angle, If these guys are turning out a finished body like this, you'd think they'd at least be able to get the neck break angle correct, so... But then again, yeah, they got a lot of nice kits, so, I mean, obviously it's a kit and you're going to have to know a thing or two about building a guitar in order to get it to come out perfect, but most all kits are kind of that way, so, unless you're paying through the nose, so, for somebody to more or less build the guitar for you, then take it apart and put it in a box, an unfinished guitar. But anyway, yeah, so you got a basic sound of what the pickups sound like, and and I'm not going to bother playing it because the thing's hard to play with that nut that high. So yeah, I can't really make it sound pretty. It's too much like work. Between that and the fact that I don't even have strap locks on it yet, so I can't play it standing up, so I'm having to try to hold it between my knees while I try to play. So it's just, I'll get it all straight and then I'll do something in the way of a sound demo, I guess. But you've already gotten the same basic sound sample. Once again, that's on bridge. Oh yeah, tone, volume, neck volume, mixed volume, and then take some bridge out of it. Put a little more neck back in. Wow, you can do some pretty nice tone control that way. The neck works like a bass tone control, and the bridge works like a treble tone control. The pots are B500, B500, A500. Yeah, but anyway, so there, you've heard it. I'm not gonna worry about playing any music on it right at the moment. I'm gonna fix that nut first and get a shim in this neck and get the action at both ends of the neck correct, and do something about these saddles. I jammed them back as far as I can get them, and I haven't rechecked since then. It might just barely be in intonation now on numbers 2 and 3. Number 1 is barely in intonation, and I was hoping that if I just set the rest of them all the way back that they might get close. They didn't seem to at first, but then I tried to see if I could get them out to flip around, but I didn't succeed at that. I didn't try taking the entire bridge out though, so I think that's gonna do it for this guitar for now. I'll deal with the nuts and the things like that at some point, and yeah, it's gonna, I think maybe I'm gonna set this one aside until tomorrow and maybe play with some other guitar today, because it kind of sucks, you know. It's because I've got it all together and it's all ready to play, and now I find out that I gotta take the neck back off. I gotta take the neck back off, and I probably gotta mess around with the nut. So, and I should probably mess around with the bridge while I'm at it too. So yeah, gonna need a few more hours of TLC before it's really ready to go. So until the next video, everybody, have a good one. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? See y'all later.